Hello everybody and welcome to my sunroom on this beautiful sunny day here in February. I'm so happy to see the sun today, and so are all of my plants. My huge Thanksgiving cactus is still in bloom, and it has been in bloom since before Thanksgiving. I cannot believe it. Every time I look at it, it has more buds. It loves this huge glass door in my sunroom, and everybody who comes in my house gets to see this. You can't miss it. My sister, when she sees this plant, she just shakes her head and she says there are no words. And I agree with her. I can't hardly speak when I look at this plant. It just outdoes itself blooming. That's how you know you love a plant. You can't hardly speak when you look at it. And I find myself doing that a lot. So I love to share this beautiful cactus with you all when it's in bloom. And let's go over some tips, some ideas, some thoughts about the care of Thanksgiving cacti here in the month of February. I'm still watering this about every 5 days or so. It gets CalMag and seaweed extract runoff fertilizer water that I'm giving to my orchids right now. It's been too cold here the past few weeks to fertilize much, so I've just been giving them CalMag and seaweed extract. Another tip I wanted to share with you all today is that I turn my Thanksgiving cacti pretty often. You know, you don't turn your orchids, especially when they're getting a new leaf or a new spike. You want them facing toward the light source the same way all the time so that growth will stay constant. But it's different with these cacti. They like to be turned so that the entire plant receives direct sunlight. So about every week or so, I turn the plant about a quarter of a turn. And I've noticed that new buds will appear when I do that. Then those buds will bloom out, and I'll face those blooms towards the room. And then the part that has been turned towards the light source, that will bud again. So I believe that as I turn it, I'm getting more and more buds as that part of the plant receives more sunlight. Several of you have asked me if it's time to take cuttings yet, and the answer is no, not yet. I actually took some cuttings from this white cactus about 2 years ago. I took the cuttings from a part of the plant that just hadn't produced any blooms or leaves. It was just some leggy growth. So I took those cuttings about the 1st of February, and there's just not been a lot of sunlight. Let me show you. They haven't done anything yet. I put them in the brightest part of the sunroom, but they just haven't rooted, and it's been almost 2 weeks. So normally I do this in April, and they root almost right away, probably within 7 to 10 days, but I haven't noticed any root growth on these yet. But the days are going to get longer. It's going to be sunnier and it's going to be warmer, and these will root. But every time I take cuttings in April, that's when I get the quickest root growth on my cuttings. So I'll be doing some videos in April for you all about how to take cuttings, and they will root very quickly for you. And also, as you see, when I take cuttings, I take about 3 to 5 segments, and they do very well. I checked with everyone who received cuttings from me last year and the year before, and I did something similar to this, and everyone's saying they've done very well, and some of them have actually bloomed. So that's wonderful. And several of you have asked me about this plant, so I'm going to just let it be the star of the show this time. This plant is 7 or 8 years old, and it started as this scrawny little cutting, according to my friend Daniel, who gave it to me. Now it measures 3.5 feet wide and 3 feet tall. So another question I get is, how in the world am I going to repot this? And the answer is, I'm 5 feet tall and my husband is 6 feet tall with these big tree trunk arms. So he gets to repot it for me in the spring. He's really happy about it, as you all can imagine. So will you all just kind of like pray with him and for him when this happens, please? No, I'm just kidding with you. My daughter is going to help him do this. She's got strong arms, and the two of them are going to do a magnificent job repotting this for me. And I'm going to have to get a very large pot to put this in. From what I've read, you're not supposed to put them in a pot much bigger than the one they're already growing in. So I'm going to have to measure this pot and then go up a size. So I'm just going to see what kind of plastic pot that I can find at one of my nearby garden centers. So I'll keep you all posted on that. That might be a really entertaining video to do, the repotting of this big, huge cactus. And you all know that with every Thanksgiving cactus video I do, I remind you, don't let your cactus set in water or it will cause the demise of your plant. So several of you have asked me, how in the world do you water and drain this plant? And it's actually very easy. I have this plant setting in a dish, and if you'll notice, I've got a paper towel right here that's sitting in that dish. And when I water it, the water runs into the dish, and then the paper towel wicks the water away from the plant, from the dish, and it goes down in this bucket. So I make sure that it's drained every single time that I water it. That's a really good setup. Well, this has been a really fun video to do with you all on this beautiful sunny day. I really enjoy hearing about everyone's Thanksgiving cacti. I've read some awesome stories in my comment section about them reblooming for you, and that makes me so happy for you all. I appreciate your friendship and your wonderful comments. And before I close this video, I'd love to say the blessing over you and your families and your cacti. The Lord bless you and keep you. May his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face toward you and give you and your families his shalom peace. You all stay safe and warm, and we'll see you next time.